Okay, so we're continuing in Matthew chapter 8 and starting with verse 14. It says this: When Jesus came into Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother lying sick with a fever. He touched her hand, and the fever left her. She got up and served him. When evening came, they brought to him many possessed with demons. He cast out the spirits with a word and healed all who were sick, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken through Isaiah the prophet, saying, He took our infirmities and he bore our diseases. Isn't that good stuff? And I just wrote that, Jesus makes it obvious that he wants to solve all of our problems. Isn't that good? That God wants to solve all of your problems. Now, you've got to filter that through God's perspective, that he knows better than we do. And that life is not easy after giving it to Christ. And in fact, you're going to encounter many things you wouldn't have encountered if you wouldn't have submitted to Christ. And we'll find that out in the next video. But it's good to balance this with the fact that Paul, he said that he had a thorn in the flesh, and he asked God 3 times to remove it, and God said that my grace is sufficient for you, and he didn't remove it. Whether that was a disease or whether that was people that were a pain to him, there's different views on that. And also that Paul said in Philippians 4 that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And he's talking about being content. He was saying, I've learned how to be content with much or little, in poverty and riches. And so we need to realize that God wants to solve all your problems, your real problems. And if you've got something that you want God to remove or get you through and he's not doing it yet, and you're being honest with yourself, because a lot of times we cause our own problems because we don't submit to God and we don't listen to the good criticism of other Christians, or we're just not hanging out with them enough. Isolation is not for a Christian. Maybe little times of it to get with God, but you need to be around other Christians. So when you're doing that and you're honest with yourself and you've got a problem, then it's probably good for you. It's probably something you should be experiencing, or something that you need to go through to help someone else, or that you need to go through to make you a better person. So just keep that in mind, because there's many people that like to say that God wants to heal every disease, and God wants everyone to be super rich, which that is very inconsistent with what we see in the book of Acts and the life of Paul. And so don't think that way, but also realize that you are going to get everything you need to accomplish the destiny that God has for you, the plan he has for you. Isn't that awesome? God is for you to the maximum. He could not be more for you. And if there's something that's in your life that you don't like and you're submitted to him and it's not something you're causing yourself, then it's probably good for you. Continuing verse 18, it says, Now when Jesus saw great multitudes around him, he gave the order to depart to the other side. A scribe came and said to him, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. Jesus said to him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of the sky have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. That's pretty good, right? To combat the mindset that we're here to be rich. We're not. We're here to be like Christ, which we don't even have to be that bad. We don't have to be homeless like he was. But another of his disciples said to him, Lord, allow me first to go and bury my father. But Jesus said to him, Follow me and leave the dead to bury their own dead. Because that could have been a very long time. It's believed that he was waiting on his father to die, and his father probably wasn't even sick. That was just something that they did in their society. And I wrote, Jesus has no delusions about people. He is looking for dedicated people and will come across as stern to weed them out. Isn't that the truth? How many of you would act like this? If people were like, I'll follow you, you'll be like, oh yeah, come on, let's go. No, Jesus was like, well, hey, he said he didn't have a home, and then he said, no, you need to leave what you're doing right now and follow me. So Jesus comes across as stern because he's looking for dedicated people. This is back to the relational thing, that God is looking for people that trust him. So let's trust him.